Hey, it's Vas here from Aussie RC Playground, and welcome to episode 2 of the Crazy Chaos Reaper. Now, this was originally going to be the last video that I was going to do on the build series, but unfortunately I've had a delay with my steering servo, which took almost 6 weeks to get here. And during that time, I actually had an ESC to go into the truck. So by now you should have seen the truck already with the electrics in it. But because the servo was delayed, in that time I managed to organize a new ESC to go into the truck, and now that's going to take a couple of weeks to turn up. So I figured I'll do this one a little bit backwards. We're going to do the body tonight, and then we'll do the electrics at a later stage, and I'll show you the ESC and the motor and the steering servo that I've picked up for the truck, which I think are going to be awesome, because now with this new ESC I may be able to actually run the truck on 8S if I can get a couple of 4S batteries to run in it. That will actually fit in the battery tray. So let's hope that we can make this work, and you know, I don't think it needs 8S, but I think it'll be cool just to try it once and just see how it all goes. So as you can see, I've already masked up the body and I've already cut a couple of things out of it. And at this point I figured I'll start the video and show you the next step in the process. So I like to use liquid mask. The liquid mask that I use is this one here, which I've had now for a couple of years. I think I got this from A-Main a couple of years ago, somewhere around there. They don't sell these size bottles there anymore. I was actually on A-Main the other night and they didn't have any more, so I'm almost done with this one. I may need to jump into a different brand, but this originally comes out like a blue color. If you've never used liquid mask before, it kind of looks like that, and you just put it on with the normal sort of small paintbrush, let it dry, put a, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 coats, however many coats you want to put on, and then of course you just cut it out. Now in some cases tape is a lot faster and a lot easier to use, but when you do want to get into these like little tight corners and do things like around here, it does make it a lot easier to use liquid mask. It just takes a lot longer because to mask up a body, although I don't always mask the entire body, it can take, you know, a couple of days, maybe 3 days to mask it all out and wait for it to dry before you can actually start cutting everything out. So this is something that's a slower process, but can be very rewarding because you see right through it, as opposed to masking tape, which, you know, can obviously be a little bit harder to see. Now, if you're wondering what this little white box is, this is my kind of background light from when I'm working and cutting out my bodies. So I have this kind of set out and I work on it upside down or whichever side I want to do, and I do my cuts and makes life a lot easier to see it like that. Turn that off, and we can move on to what I've actually done to the body. So the body doesn't come with window masks, so of course I had to mask out the windows, and you can see the black lines here. I've done these with just a little marker, just so that when I'm cutting it on the inside I know exactly where to cut. And same thing goes for around here. Now this here, I kind of follow the shape of the body, but then the inner line, I did that freehand, and you're going to see this is going to be black with a bit of a red line going along here. This is going to be matted out black. Windows of course will be painted like a tint, and then I'm going to use the outline of the stickers that were originally going to go on the windows to kind of create a bit of a border. I know that, you know, people like Hemi's Tom don't like to use stickers, but I don't have the talents that he does, and I certainly don't have the patience. So the fact that I'm doing all of this is already good enough. On top, I'm going to be putting a Reaper. Now I know that the truck name and this is two different things, but it kind of makes sense to have this in here. I think this is going to be a killer truck, the Crazy Chaos Killer Reaper. Why not? We can call it that. So I printed this kind of flipped around, and once it gets cut out, that's how it sort of looks up on Google when you look these ones up. On the back, I'm going to be putting Chaos on the back window as well. You can see Chaos has got a red K. The Chaos along the side that you might be able to see here, that's also going to have that little bit of red on there, and then the rest is going to be black. This stripe going along here, that's going to be red. What else are we going to do? The back tray here, whoops, if I don't drop the body, this is all going to be black, and I'm going to matte this out so it kind of looks like, you know, just a standard bed, because normally these aren't really very shiny. And then these little pillars here, I was going to do them in silver, but I've got a new color which is a light gunmetal, so I'm going to be trying that out, just seeing how that looks. And then of course we'll tint out the windows and everything else. Now there's a little bit of a surprise on the back here, which I don't want to show too much just yet. We'll wait until the finished product, but for now I'm going to put the time lapse on for the camera, and you guys are going to see me peel this whole thing off, and I'm going to start putting some paint on it. and hopefully by the end of this video this will all be painted up. So let's get to work because there's still quite a fair bit to do. Okay, so finally we are done. After about 3 nights of work of painting this guy up and getting all the stickers put on and everything else, the body is finally finished. And I'm actually very happy with the overall look of the body and how it turned out. But of course, being my own worst critic, I could have done a couple of things a little bit better, a little bit differently. I wish I'd kind of upscaled the chaos here just a tad, just made it just a little bit bigger to fill out this section a bit more. That would have been something that would have been cool to have done initially. I thought that this size would have been okay, and it kind of is, it's fine, but I just would have preferred something a little bit more substantial. I think that's one thing I should have done a bit better. One thing I am very proud of is the Reaper that's on the roof here. This was actually very tricky to cut out, obviously being on the roof and trying to get the right angle to cut everything out. This was quite a task to do, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out because, you know, there's a couple of bits here that are actually quite curved, and as you can see, it actually turned out very, very well. So I'm pretty proud of that one. On the front here, you can see that I've matted out this section, which is normally where your windscreen wipers and everything go. So that kind of makes sense to be matted out. And that's just a PS55. So if you don't put that on, it comes out shiny like this when you peel the plastic off. Otherwise, you can mat it out. So you just basically cut the outside. You just cut the plastic around the shape that you want to have sprayed. You spray that over and then you peel the rest of the plastic off, and that's how it looks. Did the same thing with the front and rear bumpers. So that actually turned out probably a lot nicer than what I thought, to be honest. I wasn't sure how these bumpers were going to turn out. This is just a sticker here, of course. Moving around to the other side, you can see it's just a copy of the opposite side. And then, of course, we have the tray here, which I've also matted out. And we'll get to the back window in a second. This is the rear of it, so you can see the little cheeky guy there taking a whiz. I just thought that was hilarious. I think that that's actually quite funny. And given the context of the truck, given that this is a competitor to the Traxxas X-Max, well, you know, kind of makes sense to do something cheeky like that. You know, it's just for a bit of a laugh, a bit of fun. That's really all it is. Now, in regards to the back window, the reason why there's just a little K kind of sticking out there, and I didn't actually write Chaos on there, is because it's very tricky to peel liquid mask from itself after you've got overspray and everything like that on there. So if you peel the excess masking off around letters and stripes and things like that, like I did with the Reaper, that's fine. That works very well. But when you want to peel it from itself, it's actually very hard to do. I was actually very lucky to be able to do that here where the checkered flag is. This was actually very difficult to do. I couldn't give up on this one. This one here I gave up on because the K turned out really messy. You can probably tell that it's really jagged and it didn't turn out very nice at all. And I'm going to cover that up with the sticker later on, which I've got a sticker here that will fit on there. I just didn't put it on at this stage because the sticker is the brand of the motor that I'm going to be using for the truck, and I didn't want to give that away here on or in this video. A couple other things I changed was, of course, the springs I changed from green to red, just so that it matches with the rest of the truck, which was the intention all along. And I'll quickly just run you through just the painting schedule that I went through here. You would have noticed in the time lapse that I put some white paint on. The reason for that is because I started with the blue. Traditionally, you want to start with the darker color first and then finish off with the lighter colors. Because I didn't mask the entire body, I only masked sections of it. I was going to start with the main color being the blue, and then I put white over the top of that just to stop any excess color darkening the blue in certain sections. So you kind of even it out with the white because no other color will really penetrate the white. Then I did the red, which was the stripes and the little K here that you see. And again, I put white over the top of that, just one layer, one good layer of white, and that covers that up. And then of course I went and did the blacks that you saw on the bumpers and on the top here. That's one of the last colors that I did. The silver here, this is a bright gunmetal, I think it's called. I think it's called bright gunmetal from Tamiya. Actually, it turns out really well. It is a bit gunmetal looking, but it's not as I suppose as silver is. So this was actually a really good choice for me to use that particular color. I wanted to use it on something, and I think that worked out very well there. So that's pretty much it. And then of course I used the smoke, the Tamiya smoke, to kind of tint out my windows. I do like to have my windows darkened because I don't like to see the electrics inside. And then you've probably seen here there's a border all the way around the windows. The original sticker kit for this body comes with just a whole window sticker. I didn't want to use the whole sticker, so I just cut out the outside borders. And I have to say, I can't really take credit for that idea. I've seen somebody else on Facebook do that. I thought that was brilliant. And you know, that's a real cheap and cheeky way to do a quick sort of border around your windows to give it a bit of a sense of realism, I guess. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And as always, check out the video description for more information on the truck, as well as links to my social media pages, such as Facebook, Instagram, and of course Patreon. And I'll have the names of all the people that have contributed on Patreon over the last couple of months, who have obviously helped in kind of finishing off this build, and yeah, just contributed to some of the components that I'm putting into it. So I really appreciate all the help and support that I get from those people. If you want to be one of them, if you want to get a bit of a shout out with your name, be sure to check out the link in the video description, and feel free to help out the channel. That is it from me. Don't forget to stay tuned for the next episode of the Crazy Chaos Reaper build, where I'll be showing you the motor, ESC, steering servo, and radio that I'll be connecting to this truck. Thank you again for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.